So much going on. A week ago, it was the SEC, and today, all eyes on Indianapolis, where the Big Ten, the other power conference, going on. Max Chadwick joining us. We've always enjoyed the conversations because he not only knows what's going on, he's able to explain it in great detail. Max, good to see you again, man. It's been a while since we've talked, but there is a lot to chow down on, isn't there?
Yeah, Paul, it's been too long since we talked. Honestly, if I could talk to you every day, I would. But I appreciate having me on again.
Well, we're great. We'll get to the Big Ten in a minute, but let's go back to the SEC because I know you have a lot of opinions. I realize 16 teams will take a lot of time, but just kind of treetop it a little bit for us in terms of what schools impress you the most and who will be a factor.
Yeah, obviously you got to start at the top of the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they've won 2 of the last 3 national titles, and they have every expectation to win their 3rd in 4 years this year. And you can make the argument that they're the favorite to win it all this year, right? They have the best coach in the country in Kirby Smart, the best quarterback in the country in Carson Beck, and arguably the best roster in college football as well, right? So I think Georgia is pretty clearly the top of the SEC right now. And then you go after them. My hot take is I think the second best team in the conference is the Ole Miss Rebels.
Oh,
I
boy.
am all in on Ole Miss this year. I think they have one of the best offenses in college football. They really revamped that defense in the transfer portal as well. I love Jackson Dart at quarterback. They, to me, feel a lot like Florida State last year, where they had a really good year, brought back everyone basically, and then brought in a lot of talent through the transfer portal. So I really like Ole Miss. Texas is still obviously a top 5 team in the country as well. I still really like Alabama. And I think Missouri is another team that can round out the top 10 nationally right now. So it's a really good SEC as it always is. But I think Georgia kind of stands alone at the top right now.
Max, I realize you're an analyst. You're not an analytics odds maker, but we just put some stats on the board about the chances to win the SEC. I don't know if I saw Ole Miss on that screen. Kind of a weird question, but why do you think there are so many detractors, though?
Yeah, I just think, you think of the top of the SEC and you always think of Georgia. You think of Alabama and you think of now Texas, of course, joining the SEC. Ole Miss is kind of that forgotten team in a lot of ways. And obviously, the big detractor for them has never been the offense. It's always been the defense, right? And last year, the defense did hold them back a little bit. I will say, though, they really, like I said, revamped that defense. They added Princely Amonmielen, one of the best edge defenders in college football coming in from Florida. They added Walter Nolan, one of the best defensive tackles in college football coming in from Texas A&M. They added so many guys at linebacker, at corner, at safety. They really revamped that defense. I think Pete Golding, their defensive coordinator, has a lot to work with next year. So not only did they improve the defense, I actually think the defense is pretty darn good right now as well. So, and you couple that with one of the best offenses in college football as well, with Lane Kiffin, one of the best play callers in college football. Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to surprise a lot of people next year and maybe be a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah, and we just showed the schedule. I mean, I know everybody wants to make everything out of every single SEC schedule, but they've got an easy schedule if you want to be objective here. And what I mean by that is Georgia at home. There is no Alabama. LSU on the road, probably one of the more dangerous games other than Georgia at home. But they really don't have much meat on that bone. I don't think, Max.
No, I agree with you. And I think that's another reason why to be high on them going into next year, right? And you got the Georgia game, which is a game that they're probably not going to be favored in, but that's about it, right? That's probably the only game on their schedule that they're not going to be favored in. So I think an 11-1 season is certainly possible. And also, you got to remember that there is no divisions now, right, in the SEC. So now all of a sudden you could say a Georgia Ole Miss rematch maybe in the SEC title game as well. So if you go at 11-1 or even 10-2 in the SEC, you're pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot. And I think Ole Miss certainly should at least win 10 games next year.
I know that if you say, like, who do you like in the SEC, you could probably go 7, 8 deep. Of the schools that we talk about so often, or maybe outside of, let's be honest, outside of a few at the bottom, what school are you concerned about the most?
Yeah, there's a couple of schools I'm a little bit concerned about. I think one of them is Oklahoma joining the SEC. I think they're still going to be a good team, but I think good as in like 8-4 good, right? I mean, they have a new quarterback in Jackson Arnold, who I still like, but a brand new offensive line. And there's some questions. Obviously, they lose a star offensive coordinator as well, Jeff Lebby, who's now the Mississippi State head coach. So I think Oklahoma has some concerns. I still think 8-4 is realistic for them, but I do have concerns with them. And then LSU, I have concerns with as well, right? You lose your Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels. You lose two of the best receivers in college football, and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., both of them first-round picks. They still should have a really good offense, but they really did not improve that defense too much. I still think the secondary has major, major concerns. I like Harold Perkins a lot, but outside of him, there's not a lot to get excited about defensively. So I still think that could be a major issue on that side of the ball for LSU. So I think Oklahoma and LSU, again, really good teams, but I don't quite see the college football playoff aspirations as some others do.
Talking to Max Chadwick, Max, back to the other side. You mentioned a few there that you're concerned about. You like Ole Miss, obviously Georgia. I'm assuming you like Texas. So who's of that next group? You've eliminated LSU, I believe, but you still have Tennessee. You still have Alabama. You have Missouri. Everybody can't go to the playoffs.
No, I bet there's a lot of teams that are hoping to, right? And I think that Alabama is certainly still up there. I mean, you have Kalen DeBoer, who honestly, I know you lose Nick Saban, the greatest coach in college football history, but Kalen DeBoer is a really good replacement. It's about as good as you could hope for, right? It's going to be a different Alabama than we're used to, not the defensive-focused Alabama under Nick Saban. Now it's going to be an offensive juggernaut probably under Kalen DeBoer. I can't wait to see what he does with Jalen Milroe, who might have the best physical tools of any quarterback that we have in college football. So Alabama's still going to be up there. I still think they're probably going to be a playoff team. And then Missouri, man. Missouri's offense is still loaded. They bring back Brady Cook. They bring back their top 5 receivers, including the best receiver in college football in Luther Burden III. And you bring back your star offensive coordinator in Kirby Moore. Now, you do have questions defensively, but I think this Missouri offense is good enough. And the schedule is actually the easiest in the SEC according to our power rankings. Missouri could get into the playoff next year and be a really good team once again. So I think Alabama and Missouri are in that next group for me, but I still think they're going to be really good teams and potential playoff teams too.
Give me something.